Happy hump day, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope you had a great day. Always good to be with you. Listen, please, let's get this out the way. Like. Hit that thumbs up right now. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that. You know what to do. Go ahead and do it. Appreciate y'all. Listen, we did not go last night, so I did not have the honor of doing the number of days player. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to pull up 25 Antonio Pittman days until kickoff versus Texas in the shoe. And yes, I could have went with several others, but I went with Antonio Pittman because to me, he's one of the most underrated, unappreciated backs in Ohio State history. That's my opinion. All right. He carved up Michigan several times. Just a really, really good all-around back. And then, of course, he is a first responder. He's a fireman, y'all. I mean, that's just dope. And so I had to really go with Pittman on this one for yesterday since we missed. But for today, we have 24 Malik Hooker days until kickoff versus Texas. I had to give the boy. Listen, for those who don't recognize this play, that was an interception. I lied to you not. It wasn't a PBU. He picked this off. This dude was a freak. Loved Malik Hooker here at Ohio State. Speaking of first responders, remember our super chats go to our military and our first responders. So, hey, firemen, medics, all of that. And so shout out to Antonio Pittman for that. And shout out to y'all for the super chats. We're going to take care of them because they take care of us. You feel me? All right, let's bring in Nevada. What is up, brother? How you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I love your picks.
Thank you.
Antonio Pittman, one of my favorite running backs ever at Ohio State, and I totally agree with you. Underappreciated. If he'd have stayed a full 4 years, would have been, up, right near the top. Believe it or not, in terms of
Statistically,
rushing,
yeah.
statistically, but in the top five, and a guy that I never felt got his due. Was always good for 6 or 7 yards of carry every time. Was kind of a slasher, but could break
Yeah.
it. Broke it big against Michigan, as you said. Broke it big against Notre Dame in the bowl game. So just a terrific player. And then Malik Hooker. Great story. Was a guy that's he was on the bench, and then when Greg Schiano came in, saw this guy and was like, "Hey, we got to get this kid on the field,"
Right.
and then came out there and became one of the great safeties ever at Ohio State, and a terrific pro as well. So yeah, we're getting down to the good numbers. We're getting down to, I mean,
Yeah.
24 days till the Texas game. That's crazy. Seems like yesterday we were I was in Atlanta picking up trash after the game for the thing. Did you get your basket of trash that I sent you from the national championship game?
I still didn't get it.
No,
Like,
still didn't get
what's up? What's up with that? Do
it.
you love me or
I,
not?
I know. I gotta make sure. I gotta check when I get home. I'm gonna check, get the FedEx tracking number on that, and get you your box of trash. But yeah, that 24 days till we go to Texas, and yeah, I'm excited. But I'm excited about the show tonight because
Yeah.
a Michigan Lion show is always just. I mean, that's great. That is just
That's good.
that gets me excited because I'm like, hey, just when I thought that they couldn't stoop any lower, the Chris Ballases and the Nate Keys and the Batmans and the Mr. T's and all stuff like that, they start spewing more stuff. And I'm like, I just can't wait to pod with my boy B Moses because it's the Michigan Lion. And what more do I have to say about that?
Yeah. I mean, what is it? Death taxes and Michigan lying? Is that the same? I mean, like it's ridiculous. And we're gonna call some things out tonight, man. We're really going to really put a spotlight on some things because again, it's there's some things that have went unchecked. We've mentioned them before, we've talked about it, but it needs to really get hit hard today. And you'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, these jokers is just absolutely on one. And I'm just going to dive right in. I'm going to share my screen and we are going to show you the first part of what we're talking about, but we're going to kind of walk you through a little bit of a timeline of all of this and just show you how crazy these people are. All right. So this shout out to the homie Intrinsic, of course, Trenzy, our guy. He posted this on Twitter. And so here's the highlight: Ohio State's natty to be vacated? Question mark. A new theory just dropped to defend Chris Balas, whatever, and Michigan. Not Ryan Day's brother, not Alex Yu. Now it's an OSU player who turned Michigan in for cheating. So they've been moving the goalposts all over the place. It's just a new location for the goalposts. But Nada, do you want me to go ahead and read this screenshot first, or did you want to dive in and say something about that?
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, I don't want to bury the lead. I mean, basically, they're alleging that Joey Velasquez, the baseball player slash football player, is the
Whistleblower.
whistleblower. Yeah, the whistleblower, the third man, whatever you want, whatever the informant, whatever you want to call him, and that Ohio State illegally induced him to come over there. And so now, because he was illegally induced, he was ineligible, and because he was ineligible when he played in games, that now Ohio State has to forfeit all their games, and we're going to lose the Natty. So this is their latest wonderful theory, that Chris Ballas is coming up with about, forfeiting games and the like. Now, we can. I want to get into the timeline, and you can read into the thing, but I do want to say one thing. I find it interesting that their theory is that Joey Velasquez, guy number 117 on Michigan's roster or whatever it was, somehow knew about this scheme and informed upon it to Ohio State. Yet the head coach at Michigan, Jim Harbaugh, was blissfully unaware of all this going on. So they're asking us to believe both those things at the same time. Um, kind of like their theory of how Central Michigan, who wasn't even at Michigan, they knew about Stallion's
Right.
scheme because they
Right.
hired him to be a freelancer, but the coaches at Michigan and Michigan admin and Michigan didn't know about it either. So they ask you to swallow some awful tall tales, but I'll let you get into the exact thing and some of the timing. But I did want to point out just kind of the idiocy of the idea. But that's the stuff that Chris Ballas and those guys are pushing day in and day out to the Michigan fans, and they just keep eating it up. But feel free to start laying out the timeline.
Yeah, man. I mean, num eating it up like just blindly. It's stupid. So I'll read this real quick, so y'all can see their words. This is on their message board. Amusing reverse Uno scenario. We all, some, know and love to speculate about the identity of the dreaded whistleblower. One of the most popular theories is that it involved a former player that eventually transferred to OSU shortly after the 23 season. This is relevant because if OSU was involved in contacting the player, either directly or through a hired intermediary, that would constitute impermissible contact with a player currently enrolled at another university. He entered the transfer portal in December of 23, well after the Stallions investigation. Why do we care? Well, the NCAA just established a new precedent in the Oklahoma State case that impermissible contact with the player that then transfers to the contacting university renders them ineligible. Said player further participated in all 16 games of OSU's 25 championship year. So that's their words. I mean, Nevada summarized it, but that's their words. It's a lot. It's just so much reach and delusion and ridiculousness in this text that I just read off to you. But yeah, so we're gonna go. I just want to show y'all the timeline because I don't know if y'all saw my thumbnail. The thumbnail is mocking their memes. They always like to post the skeletons on the bench with the sign and still waiting on the hammer, right? As if the investigation has been completed. All these months they've been posting this meme. It just is dumb. So I posted still waiting on Ryan Day's brother evidence with the skeleton because these clowns have been talking about this for months. Okay, nothing threatening evidence, nothing. So I'm going to quickly show you some timeline evidence here. And as I'm going to this, Nevada, did you want to jump in real quick and say anything before I get into it?
Well, the thing is, look, it's one thing for just posters to speculate things or say something stupid like Nate P when he made up his little story about meeting the regent who was telling him nothing's going to happen or something like that. But when you've got people that are like, the Chris Faust, I mean, people that are supposedly they're the standard bearers for the Michigan information and Michigan sites coming out and claiming that they've got this dossier of information on Ryan Day and Ryan Day's brother that someday they're going to drop. That him and Mr. T are talking about how they pity the fools that are going to stand in front of them. That they're going to drop the hammer of Thor on everybody, and they're still saying that. I mean, and it's just like, I mean, I can't believe that guy has paying customers or has people that pay him money to listen to him, because he's been so spectacularly wrong at every turn on this. And he came out today still claiming that they've got the smoking gun on Ryan Day and Ryan Day's brother. And I like I said, I can't believe he's still trying to spew that stuff out there. And I'm just wondering, like, when will Michigan fans wake up and say, guys, if you have it, just show it to us. Show us the information that you have. Quit talking about it. Show it. And it never seems to come. So yeah, like I said, I when I saw this, I was amazed. I really thought that he was done with that theory, but no, he was still at it again today, and it was pretty remarkable.
Yeah, and he needs to be held accountable for it. And this is what we're going to do. So this is sort of the origin of the timeline. Again, working with Intrinsic, great researcher. He's a receipt guy like Spiro. So this, according to the timeline, is the first mention or notice of this. So basically, message board geniuses. Everybody knows that account, where they pretty much highlight goofy takes on message boards. So this right here, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but basically the summary of it is there's a story of an Ohio State fan, supposedly, a Michigan fan who does construction, overhearing an Ohio State fan in their home while he's working on their home, talking about the scandal. Okay, before a couple of weeks before it got out, to the public. So of course, so this is the origin according to the timeline. A couple of weeks later, the Menace guys, they mention it as a joke. And then Bayless, Balaz, Scam Web, they all start running with it. And I'm going to show you, go through the screenshots. That's when they start running with it and going crazy. And from that point on, which was pretty much the beginning of this whole timeline, they've been pushing this narrative. They've been threatening lawsuits. Uncle T, under his different burner accounts, has been threatening lawsuits and threatening all types of stuff. And of course, just saying, we got evidence, we're going to release it, we're going to release it. But to this day, still no evidence. But today, in a different screenshot I'm going to pull up in a minute, it's an On3 update, a breaking news on On3 that they have this evidence. And it's so, like, my whole point as we go through this, Nevada, and everybody watching, is that we've gotten so much heat and criticism and whatever about the hammer that's coming. And you guys you're building a site off of the hammer. I've heard them say that. And, are even making money off the hammer and all this other stuff. Okay. But yet you've been talking about Ryan Day's brother and the supposed evidence for 2 years with no evidence. What are we waiting on? At this point, what are you waiting on? Like, you could have hit us with this bombshell months ago and it could have shook the game up. And oh my God, like, what are we waiting on, Nevada? Like, that's a serious question. What do you think we're waiting on if he has his evidence?
Well, again, the fact that On3, as a network, as a supposedly responsible network, would allow this to come out as like some breaking news on their thing too, I just think it's just disgusting. Because, like, we talk about being fact-based here. Everything that we have said has been fact, but it puts everything on the NCAA timeline, everything that's been released in the excerpts, that even the selective leaks that they've made to Ross Dellinger and other people like that. Everything that we said has been vetted and has been said, and the timeline is what the timeline is regarding, a notice. I noticed, time to reply, the delays, the actual hearing, the 60 to 90 days after, or 30 to 90 days after for issuance of a final judgment. I mean, everything we've said fits precisely. And on the other hand, when you've got On3 putting something out there where they're talking about breaking news, we've got the documents and stuff like that. I just think it's the height of irresponsibility, because, I mean, Chris, they're just lying. I mean, they're literally lying, and that's what they've done through this whole thing. And I just wonder, when are they going to be called to account for this? where's the accountability? And I mean, I understand journalism is dead in 2025, and it's, click this and clickbait that and sensationalize this. But I mean, at some point, don't people have to wake up and just kind of go, man, this dude has been wrong about it. This guy's he's literally been lying to us about everything. He literally said Jim Harbaugh is flying home to sign the contract
That's a
with
big one.
Michigan. That was a big one. That was a big announcement when, and an hour later, they announced him as the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. I mean, like, you can't be that wrong. You know what I'm saying? You just can't be that wrong without just being spectacularly out of the loop or dishonest. And so this is just another one. I mean, I think it's a shame that Menace and Zach Smith and those guys started this rumor, because I think this rumor has been really hurtful to a lot of people. But I never heard it because I don't listen to their show. But if it was a joke, it was a joke or whatever it is. But for them to continue this thing on, continue to claim that they have documents, continue to claim that this all goes back to a theory, like a more broad theory, B, where it's like Ohio State turned Michigan in for this, okay? And my whole thing on that is, so freaking what if we did? You know what I'm
You just
saying?
read my mind about it. I was literally going to hit on that. You are correct. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah,
Preach.
it's kind of like, I mean, we didn't cause Stallions to do this. We didn't hire Stallions to scout 53 games. We didn't create the master spreadsheet. We didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
we didn't do any of that. So what difference does it make? What difference does it make if Ryan Day himself was the one who turned him in, or so, short of the fact that if your theory is that we hacked into your system somewhere at Schembechler Hall, and that they lowered Ryan Day and they're like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible in some bodysuit, and he hacked the servers and got the thing off there. That's the only thing that you can have. But the fact that if Ohio State did it, you know what I say? I applaud Ohio State. I
Yeah.
salute them. I stand and salute and I say, you know something? You guys got it right. You guys, because something like this should be turned in. I want to know who did it. I don't believe it was Ohio State. I've never heard it was Ohio State. But you know something? If it was Ohio State, it would make me love. If it's possible to love the Buckeyes more, I would love the Buckeyes even more if they were the ones that turned in Michigan for this, because I just think that would be sweet karma and poetic justice to have the evildoers hit like this. But I mean, I don't get it. Maybe you could explain it to me. What difference does it make if it was the Buckeyes?
Oh, it makes a big difference. This is a live picture or a footage of him in the Schembechler Hall, Ryan Day's brother, in Schembechler Hall, just rummaging through the halls, gathering evidence and breaking through laptops. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But yeah, that's a great point. Spiro has hit on this so many times as well. He loves to say, if what does he say? If Chris says the sun's not coming up in the morning, hug your kids, or I forget the saying. The point is, he hasn't been right about anything. One, but even if he was right about this, who cares? You cheated. It's just another deflection tactic. Okay. But again, not even entertaining the possibility of it being true, because where's the evidence? Again, they hammer us for us talking about the hammer and talking about how we profited and getting a following off the hammer. Intrinsic sent me this. He said 21.5 million impressions between those stories, and the most of them are behind paywall. So they made money off of this story, this Ryan Day's brother story, which is a complete farce. Okay, until proven otherwise. All right, so there's that, and you got subscriptions, everything. Like, I don't want to hear that. And this is what we're pushing back against, is because, again, we are going to have an announcement literally any day now. Somebody will be right, somebody will be wrong. But the mocking of the hammer based on the fact that it hasn't happened yet is just pure stupidity. Illogical, irrational, it's just dumb. Okay? And again, as Nevada said, we are fact-based. I know you clowns out there who just hop in the comments and just want to criticize. You don't really watch. You don't really listen to what we're saying. You just want to troll. But on these shows, we show you receipts. We point to bylaws. We point to facts. We point to mitigating versus aggravate. I mean, we lay it all out for you. And so the argument that we've made for the hammer is well backed up, is well informed, educated, and researched. Okay, this garbage, there's no evidence. It's been months of you threatening to release this evidence, and you still haven't. And then today, as I got it pulled up right now, you got the report. And shout out to my guy Dan Novak. He's low key behind the scenes with Intrinsic. He does a great job with getting this information too. Like Dan he's another super friend. But it says Michigan is currently in possession of documents that could link the private investigators behind the sign stealing scandal back to Ohio State, per Chris Bellis. And so, I mean, again, more you talk about headlines and you're clickbait, all that crap. Miss me with all that crap. You still talking about this with no evidence? Yeah, you need to be called out. And even worse than that, Nevada, Spiro talked about the death threats that Ryan Day's family got because of this. So now listen, to be fair, look, straight up, Menace, when I heard it, I did hear it. To me, it was a joke. I didn't take it seriously. These idiots went and ran with it and just took it a whole new life to it. So they basically played right into the hand, like the idiots that they are. And now it just rolled into a whole other thing. But even beyond that, though, Nevada, and I'm gonna show this on my screen as well. They talked about how Ohio State was guilty of stealing signs with Purdue and everyone else, and they still push that. I don't know if you saw that. They're still pushing that as well today, threatening to provide evidence for that. But the only problem is that's already been debunked by guess who? The local Ohio State media? No. Buckeye Scoop? No. The NCAA actually debunked that. And I'm pulling that up right now just to remind y'all. Okay. This is a Yahoo Sports article. All right. This is back in November of 2023. NCAA says Ohio State's Ryan Day has no known ties to Michigan sign stealing probe. And it goes into detail in the article. It was already debunked. Okay. This is what Tony Petitti was talking about in his letter. And Nevada, you remember this very well. He was rebuking Michigan in their response, telling them, saying other teams are doing it is not a defense to the evidence that we have. This was a part of that. Michigan was on some, but others are doing it with no evidence from the very beginning. And they're still trying to push that narrative to this day. So again, y'all want to give us all the smoke for supposedly talking about the hammer and we just making stuff up. First of all, that's false. If you watch any of these shows or follow anything we do, that's false. But you got these clowns still to this day slandering this man's family. Death threats have come from this. And it's just cool. It's just cool. No big deal. Nah, they need to be called out and need to be held accountable, Nevada.
Well, I mean, look, what would be their, let's play along for just a second. Let's say they have evidence. Okay. What would be their incentive for not showing us some of it? You know what I'm saying? They've been talking about this for months. I mean, I don't know exactly the dates, but it's been a long time. It's been a long time they've been talking about they've got the stuff, right? Yet they've never shown anything. Like come on, at some point, people have got to, like, hey, it's kind of like watching that show on one of those cable channels, Mountain Monsters, where they're like always chasing like the devil dog or like the Mothman or something like that, and they never show like the Mothman or the devil dog or the Sasquatch. They never do, and it's like the same thing with these guys. Well, we've got the stuff, we've got the evidence, but we're not going to show it to you. It's like, oh, okay. I might fall for that like the first time, but after 6 months, 9 months, a year, then I'm kind of going, why won't you show me just show me something that has something to do with anything like that? In the meantime, like you said, you've gotten rebuttals from the NCAA, talking directly about that, not tying anybody to the scandal or whatever it was. But again, who cares if it was, man? I wouldn't care less if it was Nina Day herself who had found this out in terms of doing it.
Right.
If you do something wrong, I mean, Michigan's answer on this whole thing has been they keep conflating issues, and they keep conflating the difference between sign stealing and advanced surveillance and illegal the illegal taping of signal. I mean, sign stealing is okay. You can steal signs in game. You can even trade. It's how you went about doing it. The advanced scouting, illegal taping of the signal. That's the stuff that's illegal. And let me tell you what, no one else does that.
Right.
Because if somebody else did that, we've said it a million times, and we invite them and say, Michigan, you guys, if you guys have that Ohio State does that, you guys can break it on our show. We'll talk about that on the show. We'll break it on the show. We'll go out there and just show us something one time, a name, a person, a video, just something that proves that Ohio State's involved or anybody is involved in terms of doing it. But they can't, because it doesn't happen. Okay.
Right.
It's, nobody does this. Nobody's taken it to this extent. This was something that was a clear violation of the law. And that's why I can, for the Michigan people, you can almost smell the desperation that's kind of coming off them right now. Because let me tell you what, if they thought they were skating in all this, you wouldn't be hearing about Ryan Day's brother. You wouldn't be hearing about, illegal, Joey Velasquez, the whistleblower, or the private investigating firm. Right? You wouldn't be hearing about anything. All you'd be hearing about is, ha ha ha, we're not getting anything. The NCAA's toothless. We didn't get any penalties. Blah 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 blah. But let me tell you, that's not happening, and they know it. They're starting to wise up to it. They know it, and like you said, it could happen any day. This is going to be very binary. Somebody's going to be right. Somebody's going to be wrong, and I will not equivocate. We are going to be proven right on this. They are going to be proven wrong once again, but yet they'll try to spin it. I'm not sure exactly how. I mean, we've already identified NCAA overreach.
Right. I was going to ask you, what's a new way? Have you thought about a new way they're going to spin?
Well, it's got to be, nobody told us. Nobody had mentioned this. Michigan administration's weak. I mean, they're going to have to come up with something pretty good because, but to their credit, they haven't been doubling down or tripling down on this as of late, because they know, even though that they're patently dishonest and they're liars and they're guys that just make up stories, like, they know, because the fans are getting kind of wary to that. They're asking them the questions about it, and they will not answer definitively. I will challenge any of the Michigan people out there. Ask Ballas and those guys, and Mr. T and Isaiah Hole, to come out with some statements saying unequivocally that nothing's going to happen to Michigan. They won't. They won't say it. They'll do some waffly thing like, well, we haven't heard anything, or the Michigan people they know it's coming. And like you said, it could be tomorrow. It could be Monday. It could be
Literally.
Tuesday. It literally could be any hour right now. So all questions will be answered. I'm excited.
Yep. Same here. And I put this on the screen, y'all, so y'all can see the receipt. This is from Chris Balas. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. November 3rd, 2023. Okay. Headline: breaking. Michigan media gathering evidence on private investigators and their links to OSU. More on Jim Harbaugh extension. Ha! Look at that. You know what, Nevada? I didn't even notice the extension part until now, because I was so fixated on the date. But that's hilarious. That's just another little extra nugget of lie.
Well, no, he's just wrong. No, he's just wrong on everything. He's literally wrong on everything. He literally is wrong on everything. I mean, he's the perfect contrarian indicator of anything. So, yeah, I'm hesitant to think that there's been a single thing that he's been right about. And that one just kind of sums up. That's like a perfect hypothesis for his entire career right there. One headline where you've got two facts in it, and both of them are wrong, just completely wrong. So, I mean, that's par for the course for Chris Balas.
Blaz. Yes, it is. And so again, there's more I can show you, and I will. But I just thought about something, Nevada, because you talk about desperation. So again, ad nauseum, I know I already say I'm on social media talking to these Michigan fans. Listen, a part of me, I'm torn in a way, Nevada, because my guilty pleasure is just absolutely just destroying them, because it's too easy, and clowning them and trolling them and whatever. But they're also annoying because I can't stand low IQ people. And so, do I think these people in real life are all just completely stupid? No, I believe they have some intelligence. But when it comes to their team, They are severely low IQ. And I don't know if I told you this, Nevada. I think I posted on the board in one of the threads. This Michigan fan came to my post, because I post the YouTube link to the show on my page. And they came in and like, you guys are just sensationalizing and whatever. And so guess what this joker tried to compare this to? This situation, guess what he tried to compare it to?
What's that?
Rich Rodriguez stretching scandal when he was at Michigan. Do you remember that?
The stretching scandal?
Yes. You don't even remember, do you?
So I mean, maybe I do, but you're gonna have to remind me because it's not ringing a bell with me right now.
I will remind you. So apparently they got popped by the NCAA for basically working out too long or stretching too long, practicing too long. Okay. It really, when it happened, you don't remember because we didn't even think it was a big deal. It was like, whatever. I mean, okay, whatever. That's not really a big deal. This dude, this Michigan fan, compared in his write-up, he compared that scandal, said, well, they had Michigan and that Rich Rodriguez team had a competitive advantage, just like this situation, and they only got 3 years of probation. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, y'all, bro, every response I get from them is completely wacky and stupid, and they have no idea what's going on. Either they're just regurgitating what they're hearing from their message boards, or they're just concocting something to just explain this away. I really don't know if they understand what's coming, Nevada. Like, for real, I'm being serious, like heart to heart on air. Like, I really don't know if these jokers understand what's about to hit them. Like, straight up. I thought at one point maybe they just front like, man, I know, ain't nothing going to happen. Or how can I put it? Something's going to happen, but we going to act like it ain't and just play tough. I don't even know if that's the case now. Like, their responses are so brain dead and zombie-ish. I really don't know if they know what's about to hit them, Nevada. Like, for real. They're about to be really shook up.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it's funny because there's like a big divide now between Michigan administration, who kind of knows what's kind of coming on, you know what I'm saying? And that kind of sense of dread that's kind of taking them over, and their fan base, which is blissfully unaware. They're just completely unaware of the tsunami building up off stream. It's like some of those tsunami videos that you see where you see the guy out there on the beach and he's just walking along the beach out there, and you're like, hey, dude, there's a tsunami coming. It's about to
right,
literally like throw everything out there and stuff like that. But there's always some guy on the beach. There's always some guy on the beach just walking out there on the beach during the tsunami. That's what the Michigan fan base is like. They're like all wandering out there. They have no clue. And that's why I really am mad at their insiders and their people, because I feel like part of the thing is an insiders, you have a responsibility to prepare your folks for what's coming. You prepare yourself, your team, your folks for a bad season, a difficult game, a coaching change, whatever it is. And I don't think they've done a complete disservice to the Michigan fan base, because their position for this from day one has been, they're not even sure there's going to be a notice of allegation. Do you remember that when they said that?
Oh my God. Oh, I actually heard that from you first.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if there's going to be a notice of allegation, and I'm like, what are you guys talking about?
Goodness.
Yeah. So no, they've done a bad job. And as for that guy that was responding or putting something in your Facebook, I just got a question. Was his name Nate P by any chance?
You know what? I don't know. I need to go back and look. But I did click on his profile pic, and it was. I'll say this. Look, I'm not gonna be mean, but some of these cats be looking strange and weird.
Yeah.
Weird. Shout out to Sports Talk Jay. But yeah, he was dead serious, and he thought he hit me with a gotcha. I was just like, man, you clowns. I'll put up another receipt. Shout out to Intrinsic. There's several of just a timeline of. By the way, the blue T, we got a star bomb. That's Uncle T. All right. And C is Chris Ballas. So look at the blue highlighted. I don't understand calling a truce. OSU needs to accept some level of responsibility. And then Uncle T is still talking about the PI firm. We're showing you this, y'all, because Again, they've been talking about this for this entire investigation. And to your point, Nevada, what is the deterrent? I mean, there's a lot that's happened since then, and this has not been trending positive for Michigan. This has been trending negative. I know they want to spin it as if it hasn't, but you can't make the argument that this has spun positive for Michigan. So why not drop the bomb? Why not release the hounds? Why not shut all the Sakai fans up? What? And then you're going to release another breaking news today? Nah, I take exception to this. Number one, for Ryan Day and his family, obviously, but also even beyond that, just the audacity to try to come at the Buckeye Scoops and the others who have said, listen, the hammer's coming. We've done the homework. Y'all about to get cracked. But accuse us of just, false headlines and all the sensation. Can't talk. Can't even say the word. I'm fired up right now.
Sensationalism.
Jesus. You wanna criticize us for that? But you got this PI investigation of Ryan Day's brother stuff still rolling, churning out even to this day, making money off of it behind a paywall. Nah. You talk about accountability and responsibility in this screenshot. That's what y'all need. And for real, I don't think people are taking this serious enough. And so my question is, and this is, it's kind of an open question, necessarily won't be answered, but do you think Ryan Day and his family will launch some type of defamation suit after this is all said and done? What you think?
I don't think so, because once you're a public figure like that, and they have to, I mean, plus these guys don't have, two pots to pee in. So like, what are you gonna get Chris Ballas for his 1984 Hyundai or whatever the guy's got? And you know what I'm saying? So like,
I would take that if I was running.
So I mean, like, let's be real. But I got a different question for you. I've got a different.
Okay.
I've been thinking about this. Okay, so this scandal happens, and the NCAA is getting ready to rule, and no matter what we say, no matter what B Moses says, no matter what Nevada Buck says, no matter what Spiro, Intrinsic, Premier Drum, whomever says, the NCAA is going to issue their ruling, right? We agree with that. We're not influencing the ruling. The ruling's going to come regardless. So my question was, I feel like we're doing a service to the Michigan fans by at least warning them what's happening right now. Because say we weren't reporting on this, then how unaware would they be then when the thing hit? They'd be completely unaware of this thing. Yeah, I mean, because like if we weren't reporting on it, who would be reporting? Virtually no one in the national media. I mean, you've got the Monty Show, you've got Sports Talk Jay, you've got the occasional article for national, even Ross Dellinger and those guys are kind of moving to the point where these are possible punishments. But like, if we weren't banging the drum on this, man, the Michigan fans would have no warning about this. Absolutely nothing. This wouldn't even be on their radar. So I feel like you guys should be thanking us. You guys should be having a parade for us and showering us with accolades for at least warning you of this impending doom that's going to hit. Because if we didn't do it, nobody would be reporting on it. And I that's what I find the most crazy of this whole thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's the warning. It's funny. People call me Moses. I know Intrinsic calls me Moses, which is cool. Well, me being Moses, leading the people, I got a good brother named Noah. Y'all remember that guy? He spent all his life warning the people. The flood is coming. Get into the ark. Come with me. Repent from your cheating. And they didn't listen, except for a few. Like, what are we doing? We're telling you. We're showing you receipts. Bro, Nevada, I've known this fan base all my life. I know they're delusional. I know they're terrible. They're insufferable. But this has been a revelation. This has been a revelation of how blind they are. I mean, they really don't know they're about to get smacked. It's incredible. And so, and looking at both sides of the fan base, the media and the so-called insiders on both sides, like, I think, yes, we don't have how can we put it? There's supposed media insiders on our side. We like, man, we don't really rock with them. They be on some foolishness. But I gotta say, man, our fans and insiders are more overall competent and aware than they are. I mean, they are completely zombified. They have no clue. They just follow blindly. And I know they do because, again, being on social media, dealing with them a lot, you see the takes, you see what they regurgitate, you see the arguments. It's like when stuff comes out, Nevada with no fail, you see them. It's like they go and huddle up. They'll be quiet for a few days. It's when something drops. They'll huddle up and go into their little message boards, and then they'll come out with their narrative. And I know they do that because shout out to my homie Mike Patterson. He hits us with the screenshots of the MGO blog and the Michigan site to be like, man, look at these clowns. And you could see the narrative forming behind the scenes. And then they come out into social media with it. It's just Chris Bayless and all these fools are brainwashing Michigan fans. And listen, I'm not just putting just the responsibility on the insiders. These are grown men and women who are eating this up. They got to take some responsibility too, Nevada.
Well, no, they do, but I mean, when there's, it's kind of like the big lie. When you just throw out the big, just crazy stuff like we hired our own private investigator firms, and they found stuff too. It's like I don't think the human mind is equipped to really handle that level of duplicity. Like you listen to it and you're like, wow, that sounds legitimate. Mr. T must really have hired some private investigators and they must have really found some dirt because who could make something like that up? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But when you hear the same thing 6 months later, 9 months later, a year later, and still there's no thing, at some point, don't you think you have to wake up and kind of go, well, I know that's quite the outrageous lie. And I know I want to believe that this is true, but you think that they wake up, but they don't. They never seem to do it. And I just wonder, is there an undercurrent? Is there a silent majority of Michigan fans that are kind of tuning into this, that are going to, but they're just not, vocal on social media, on message boards or whatever? Are they just maybe kind of pulling away because they see what's going to, be happening, or just are they all dumb and blissfully unaware? And that's a big question. I mean, I like to think there's a large segment that know, but I run in a lot of circles. I meet a lot of people, and I've met very, very few Michigan fans that seem to have grasped the severity of what they've done and the danger that they're in. And I find that for a school that likens itself as the Harvard of the West, that doesn't. It seems like the collective IQ of the fan base is like 82 or something like that. And I might be being generous.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And listen, I'm going to be fair. As much as I loathe them, which I do, I have the same reaction because I deal with them a lot. I deal with them a lot, not just on social media, but just in real life. I got friends and brothers who are Michigan fans, and even the smarter ones who aren't as dopey and trolly, they even have no clue. Like, and what's funny is there's even a smugness from them, like a cocky smugness, thinking that they know more than they do. And it's just like you can easily call out the misinformation or the things that aren't facts. Not my opinion, like just straight up facts about the case, but there's still a smugness, like they just know. And so they are completely blind and delusional to this. I've said this before, Nevada. It would be fair if some of them would at least just say, you know what? I know there's a decent chance, at least a decent chance of us getting popped, but I don't think it's going to happen because I think our attorneys were able to argue this down to a standard, failure to monitor something intelligent like that. They're not even saying that. They laugh and scoff and mock the very notion of anything significant coming. So yeah, bro, this is going to be really, really bad.
Let me ask you a question. I mean, have you ever seen any discussion about the whole idea of failure to monitor aggravated, failure to monitor standard, failure to monitor mitigated? Is that even a discussion point on any of the Michigan thing? I've never seen it. I've never seen them talk about that. It's like they just like. ignore the fact that they're even facing a level one institutional charge. What do they think that is? That's my question. What do they think that level one institutional charge is? The
That's
Sharon
good.
Moore four game suspension. That
Yep,
let me tell you guys, that ain't the level one charge. That's
that
the
ain't
level
it.
two. That's the level two repeat offender for Sharon. That's not the big enchilada, guys. But they never discuss that, and that's what's so weird about this, because you think they'd be offering up, counter arguments to this, or discussions about aggravators and mitigators, whatever. But that just never seems to even come up, and I find that so odd.
Yep, exactly. So great question slash statement. Number one, I have seen the one guy, intrinsic. Remember, he showed the one guy who had the write up that he shot holes in his argument. That's the only guy I've seen who intrinsic thinks they might be, privy to like the legal team for Michigan that presented a case in front of the COI, maybe, but even that was easily picked apart because they were super generous with the supposed mitigating factors, in their case. That's it, Nevada. That's it. One guy. Everybody else, excuse me, their retort when you say, you have 6 level 1 violations, right? And one of those level 1s is for the institution. Their only responses, Nevada, have been, well, Tennessee didn't get a bowl ban. Well, they had exemplary cooperation. No response. Let's see what else they come back with. Yeah, they just go back to the brand. They don't want to. The NCAA is going to hurt their pockets if they hurt Michigan, because Michigan is the biggest brand in the conference, which you're not. Ohio State is the biggest brand, so shut up. Okay, your brand ain't that big as you think. All right, number one, but they don't want to hurt their revenue, and we're too big of a brand for them to hit us. So basically, they keep deferring back to not that they didn't cheat, but we can't be touched because we're Michigan. And so this kind of listen, I live in Ohio. We got way too many Michigan fans in Ohio, Nevada, but I don't live in Michigan like Mike Valenti does, and guys like that. I'm saying that because I've heard Valenti and other Michigan State people like Spiro who lived up in Michigan or live in Michigan. They hear this rhetoric. They deal with these people all day, every day on a higher level because their media is there. The blue wall is there. So the arrogance, they're in the thick of it. We get the arrogance from a rival standpoint, but they live amongst the arrogance. And so comments like, we're too big to be touched, even though we blatantly cheated. And this is the biggest on-field cheating scandal in history. And Tony Petitti in the very beginning wrote a scathing letter telling you this is unprecedented, and they had evidence and all the other stuff. It doesn't matter, Nevada, because they're Michigan and they can't be touched. That's what they really revert back to. They don't have any really intelligent arguments for what's been presented. And so that's just it, man. They're cruising for a bruising. They're on path for a bloodbath. Like it's a wrap. It's going to be bad for them. And I'm not going to feel sorry for them at all. I'm going in, like in, watch and see.
Well, I mean, some of the biggest punishments ever, laid out were to Penn State and to USC, and I mean, those are pretty big brands too.
Three
You know what I'm
brands. Yep.
saying? And the fact that the NCAA, I mean, the most striking thing about this whole thing about these recent cases has been how the NCAA has been drawing this bright line about exemplary
Ooh,
cooperation. You know what I'm saying?
yes.
Like they've just been hammering that and everything about exemplary cooperation. And it's so striking. Like, when you ever have a yin, you have the yang. You have exemplary cooperation, and then you have not exemplary cooperation. And that's what this whole thing's foreshadowing for Michigan, because that's the reason they're writing that stuff in there. That's the reason that they put in the cheeseburger gate decision that Jim Harbaugh had created a culture of non-compliance. I mean, this whole thing has been a setup. And despite that, despite the fact that the NCAA has been foreshadowing everything they're going to do with their language, with their decisions, with everything else that they've done with other schools, and how they've handled even Michigan's decision, the Michigan fans just they don't see it. They refuse to see it. They're just, down to little tropes like, oh, we're just too big. They can't do anything to us. like, which is really, and I've said this a million times, it's the most ridiculous argument in the world because somehow, some way, the college football playoff went on last year, and you know what? Michigan wasn't in it, and it didn't. Nobody cares. That's the
Nobody
beauty of
cares.
nobody cares. It's the beauty of college football. There's going to be 12 teams in it, and you know what? Ohio State could not make the college football playoff this year. Ohio State is the biggest brand in college football. They're gonna, you know what? The college, if we don't make it, will the college football playoff go on, or will they cancel it if Ohio State doesn't make it? What do you? Which one do you think?
I mean, they're going to cancel it, man. We're going to hurt them too much. You know, they can't have Ohio State. Like, just shut up. Like, I hate stupid people. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, but it's just so dumb. It's such a ridiculous argument. It's like, oh, they could survive without us. Well, no, we survived without you. They already had the playoff without you. So, yeah, I'm I'm not surprised by much after having done this for as many decades as I've done it. But I think the myopic nature of the Michigan fan base going into this penalty phase, when it's not even we're talking about stuff that's opinion. They had a trial. I mean, they went to a full hearing. Like, guys, you went to a full hearing. That alone should send a chill down your back. You went to a full hearing because you couldn't settle it. And now you're any day now they're going to issue a decision. And you're talking about Ryan Day's brother and and Joey Velasquez and stuff like what are you guys thinking? I mean, what are you guys doing, man? Get off the beach. Get off the beach, Michigan fan. The water's coming in.
Sign stealer guy. Anyway, but bro, oh my goodness. I just pictured him on the beach just walking around.
Well, no, I mean, Jim McElwain lost his job. Jake Coster lost his job. You were in the Michigan. Go to the YouTube. Go to those YouTube. Call it YouTube video. Guy on the beach for tsunami, and you'll see some old Asian woman that's out there with their groceries, and she's sitting out there, and there's big waves come running in. And you're like, what the world are you doing on the go? Get off the beach,
man.
lady.
Nevada, you just made me snort live on air. I'm laughing so hard. Jesus. Edit that out. But listen, couple things that we can get to super chats. Two quick things. Number one, I'm glad you brought up Tennessee. Hollering at the boy Trenzy earlier. We were talking about a Tennessee case, and he made a great point. Basically, he was saying that Tennessee, if you look in the bylaws, they have, they are the model citizen for exemplary cooperation. Like, they are in it. Like, they're standing there chilling like, yeah, like, we're exemplary. They are the example, right? And they still got a failure to monitor standard, okay? Which comes with 0 to 1 year bowl ban, okay? We heard Sports Talk Jay on here when he was on here talking about they were still thinking about giving him a bowl ban until they really pushed back. Like, hey, we cooperated our tails off. No. My point is, Intrinsic was saying it would be a slap in the face, because this is the argument from the Michigan fan, the one fan who tried to lay out the mitigators versus aggravators to say that Michigan was on the good side. It's a slap in the face to suggest that Michigan would get the same thing Tennessee got, which was a failure to monitor standard, when Michigan doesn't even have anything close to the mitigators that Tennessee had. Tennessee cooperated from jump. Michigan semi-cooperated towards the end, and it was BS cooperation. It's not even close. So you mean to tell me Michigan fans and administration think they're going to land under standard alongside Tennessee, who was exemplary, when you were the complete opposite, and the main person involved, Stallions, did not even cooperate? Man, come on, dog. It's stuff like that that just hits home even more when you look at things. It's just like, just think about it. Like, this screams aggravated, and you know what comes with aggravated: 1 to 3 year postseason ban. And then, of course, because of their actions and everything they did in on-field cheating, they absolutely should vacate wins. So that's what we're expecting. So that's the one thing. Anything you want to say about that before I hop on one last thing?
No, I think you're exactly right. I think it would be, I mean, I can't even imagine a scenario where they would do that. And if they did, okay, say they did, they'd at least give them the 1 year bowl ban. You know what I'm saying? Like, they wouldn't give them the
Right.
exact same punishment as things.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, is there a world where Michigan could get a 1 year bowl ban in this with vacated wins? Sure. There's a non-zero probability that that happens. I think it's low, but it's not zero. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a zero probability that they get out of this with no postseason ban. Zero. Like zero, zero, zero. So, if you're a Michigan fan and you're thinking, oh, we're going to get away with an apology and a fruit basket, you ain't getting the apology. You ain't getting the fruit basket. You're getting vacated wins and a bowl ban of indeterminate nature. I'm still saying, as I sit here right now, I'm still calling 2 years. And if they went three, it wouldn't shock me. I don't think they'll do three, but in the immortal words of Yoko Ono, bet 2 years. Bet,
Hey,
bet,
hey,
bet.
here's
There
the
you go.
basket that the
There you go.
NCAA
I
is
love it.
delivering to Michigan. So yeah, that's the basket you're getting, buddy. Real quick, I wanted to show this tweet from Intrinsic. Give me just a second. Okay. All right. So Michigan fans are threatening to sue whistleblowers because they were finally about to be as good as Alabama. Did you see this, Nevada?
I did not.
Sweet Jesus, help these folks. Let's go to this one. Now, per the research of Intrinsic and my guy Dan, Happy O Guy is the according to, and listen, they've been on it. They have not been wrong about his burners. This is thought to be Uncle T, Mr. T again.
Mr. T.
Mr. T. He says, I believe the reason Harbaugh had to sit out wasn't for the sign stealing. I'm convinced the powers that be didn't want Harbaugh to build a program. He set a foundation to become. Everyone, OSU, the Big Ten, the NCAA saw that Michigan could become a juggernaut such as Alabama,
Oh
and it
my
was
God.
decided he had to be stopped. Not just for what
Oh,
Michigan could have become, but because of
oh,
Harbaugh's stance on college players participating and receiving dollars for the value they bring to their team and college football in general. You
oh
can't make this
goodness. Oh
stuff up, bro. I had to
my.
read this. These
Oh, oh,
clowns.
oh, I'm glad you did. That's a beauty. That was a beauty.
Yes, I had to get that off because that is just ridiculous. But again, for those watching, this is what we're dealing with. We're showing you this foolishness. It doesn't make sense. Only Michigan fans who are just currently brainwashed are going to defend this. This is dumb. Okay. So there's that. But we got a few super chats. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to touch on before we slide into them. Any thoughts, Nevada?
No, we need to make a list of all of Mr. T's burners, though. Like we
Yeah,
need
we
to keep
do.
like we do. We need to have like a master list of it and stuff like that because it's like you got Mr. T, the real Talkman, Mr. T, I pity the fool, Mr. T. Do you know where Mr. T was introduced to the world? There was a show called The World's Toughest Bouncer, and he won the world's toughest. Remember when they used to have those like shows on TV where they have like all the network stars or anything like that. They had a show on NBC called The World's Toughest Bouncer, and he won the show, and that introduced us to Mr. T.
That was before 18? I
That
did
was
not know that.
way before that, way before 18, but way before everything.
Wow.
Yep, yeah, isn't that crazy?
I just learned something. Yeah, that is
Yeah,
crazy. Because
yeah.
the 18 is the first, I mean, I wasn't as I don't want to call you old, but you're a little older than me. So I I didn't know that. So you just
Yeah,
taught me something.
yes,
So
yeah. I
so
remember
so
they had a thing where he had to go through like an obstacle course, and like the last thing was he had to crash through a wall and then ring a bell, and he did that. And the first time we saw Mr. T, and he's like, "Wow, that guy's pretty cool." And then he
now
comes out to be beat.
did he have the mohawk and the chains at that point?
Yeah, the whole thing.
What? So he already
Yeah,
had that persona before that. Oh wow.
Mr. T, he was Mr. T,
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah,
and
that
and
he
now and now he's posted on Michigan boards right now. This is
Oh
crazy.
man.
I pity the fool.
That is hilarious. Good Lord. All right. Huntington BCH Buckeye, thanks for the 10. I believe that the delay in publishing the advanced scouting punishment is hurting any player who might want to transfer. Totally unfair to players who were lied to. Sanctions must come out now. Nevada, but you go first on that one, bro.
Well, I mean, look, the NCAA's got to be careful. The NCAA doesn't care about the season, transfer, players, whatever. They just want to get it right because they know. I mean, not that I believe that Michigan's going to follow through with their legal threats, but they've been threatening legals very publicly since day one. So they need to make sure that they've dotted every I, crossed every T, and followed as long as they stay within their guidelines and their rules, they're legally bulletproof, and that's what I think that they're doing right now. So that's the delay.
Yep, I agree. I don't think the NCAA, because I see a lot of these takes, and I hear you, Huntington. Because look, we're all kind of living this real time, going through this journey, and this is a lot of questions. So I don't think it's an unfair thought or question, but I do see this take often, and I don't think they're just sitting back saying, "Hey, we know let's screw the current players." No, they're just following. There's a lot that Nevada pointed this out weeks ago that was something like this. Obviously you're crossing your T's and dotting your I's, but the legalities of the paperwork and all everything, it's just a lot. So it's gonna come. We're gonna wake up one day and it's gonna hit, and it's just gonna be it. And it will be soon. So we'll find out real soon. All right. So we got Nate P. Is that Nate P? No, Nate 8282. Okay,
Oh
okay. I'm
man,
gonna say he
oh,
thought he joined the
bummer,
show.
bummer,
Thanks for
bummer.
the 10, Nate. Made a spreadsheet comparing Michigan's points scored allowed during the cheating years versus before. Includes margins and performance shifts. Let me know if you are interested in seeing it. Yes, I'm absolutely interested in seeing it. Should he send it to the Buckeye Scoop email, Nevada?
Buckeye Scoop at gmail.com. And I'd love to see it. And we love stats because we're fact based here. We like stats, we like fact based stuff. And if you've done Spiro had done some stuff on that on the spread. I've seen some things on that before, but I'd love anything that you've got prepared. Love to see it, and send it our way.
Yes, please do. Thank you, Nate. Greatly appreciate it, brother. All right, Adam. Let me see. Adam Whiteson. Thanks for the 4.99. Flying in for the night Ohio game. Give me the best spot to watch the day games near the stadium. Go Bucks. All right, so there's B Dubs. They got a nice setup there, and they've partnered with the Scoop. Good people. I'm going to say the Varsity Club is also a nice spot to go to. Now, Nevada, I don't want to hog it all up. You got any good play? Any recommendations?
Well, I mean,
Roosters.
yeah, basically, look, any bar in the city of Columbus is going to be showing the day games. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like that. I mean, but B Dubs is really, I mean, for me, if you really want to go and you want to see a lot of games and you want to have food and you want to have something to drink, I mean, Buffalo Wild Wings is really hard to beat, on a day game like that. But any bar in Columbus will have that kind of going on. I used to love do you remember the Buckeye Hall of Fame Cafe?
yeah.
That Yeah, man, they closed that, but that I love that place. Love that. My kids used to love that place. Used to hang out to play skee ball with Jake Stoneburner with the kids and stuff like that. And yeah, but no, B Dubs. That's where you got to go.
All right, and also Nevada. I know you've been here recently. You at the Tennessee game. Have you had a chance to really go through Short North, like up High Street, since you've been here?
I mean, drive through it, yes. Like visit it or see around it. Yeah, I mean, no. I mean,
Okay.
not as familiar with the places. Do like the area. It's certainly
Yeah,
very nice.
very
Lots
nice.
of good spots. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, listen, I've lived here all my life, so I've seen the development little by little. Short North is fire. I mean, it may not be super close to the stadium, but there's a ton of restaurants and bars that show the game. I mean, Town Hall is dope. I mean, that's not right next to the stadium, but it's not far. And then, of course, we just me and my wife just hit up this place called House of Creole that just opened up. Fire. Food was excellent. I mean, TVs. It's so many options on campus in Short North area. So yeah, definitely. But that is it for the super chats. So another great show, fun show. These idiots make it way too easy for us. I mean, serve it up on a platter. But they needed to be called out today, Nevada. This has been ridiculous, and the light has not been shined on them enough for these lies and slanders and everything. So I'm glad we were able to cover it today.
Well, yeah, and we appreciate you guys. We're on our drive to 40,000 subscribers on YouTube. You can play a part. All you gotta do is free. Just hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and hit like. And we really appreciate you. And we'll see you again tomorrow night.
Yep. And share this video. Appreciate y'all, Scoop family. Love y'all. Peace.